very much for turning up for our first of our winter talks. I've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. Before I introduce David Kivell and his talks on the auction, I thought what we'd do is we'd just kind of introduce the committee members and some of the course providers, so at least you recognise faces. So my name is Philip Saunders. I'm at the moment serving as chair. The rest of the committee that are here are Karen, who is membership and training and events coordinator. Tracy, who is videoing, is our treasurer. Kate is lurking somewhere, who's got her hand up, is membership secretary. And we've got a new committee member who we'll welcome this evening, who is Christine. Look at that. And do you want to stand up, Christine, and introduce yourself? This is Christine, and she joined us on the committee, and we're really, really grateful to have her. If anybody else wishes to join us on the committee, there is ample space. Please talk to me later. And Gillian
as well.
Sorry?
Ian's
somewhere.
Ian. Oh, Ian, Vice. Where's Vice?
Outside.
Ian, Vice Chair, is outside, and we'll see him as he walks in. And then we have Gillian, who's not on the committee but has served on the committee in every capacity for many, many years and provides an awful lot of our courses. So if you end up doing a course on land management or anything to do with sheep, it's probably Gillian's place that you'll go to. Ian, our Vice Chair, has just walked through the door, and I'll now introduce David, who is...
Can I just say,
yes?
If anybody's got any ideas for events or talks, then if they could email me and let me know, and then I will try and include those into the programme. Thank you.
Brilliant. So I'll hand over to David, who is David Kivell from Kivell's.
Thank you.
There are an awful lot apart from just auctions, but I think you're talking mainly on auctioneering.
Yeah, I think I am. Well, good evening, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
and one final point, we are being videoed, and David's talk will be available on YouTube or whatever. Okay.
Right.
Amazon
Best
Prime,
behaviour then.
next to Jeremy Clark's.
So if you have any questions that you end up raising, just be aware that your face may be syndicated to the world. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for asking me to come over this evening. It is a Wednesday, so I have been selling, so my voice is gone a little bit, but I've got some lubrication, and thank you for that. Just as a bit of background, it's nice to be in here because my second cousin ran this pub for about 10 years. He owned and ran it. Unfortunately, we buried him 6 weeks ago, which is a great shame, Nigel Kivell, who was a good chap and a good landlord. So it's nice to be back in here. I've been here for years. I think on the way here, I'm prepared, and then normally, I would set up a projector and give you some slides and this and that, but every picture tells a story, I know that, and I don't want to drone on too long, but I would just give you a little bit of background on myself, our business, how we operate, and then I'd like really for questions to come from the floor, because every question will lead to quite a discussion, and that could take quite a bit of time. So I don't want to drone on, because my sort of history is pretty boring, but I'm fifth generation. I'm fourth, my sons are fifth, and I've just got my two sons into the business now. I started, my father was senior partner at Kivell's. His father died at 54, and his father beyond that, he started us up in Holsley in 1885. 1905, we had a market in the square, so right in the middle of Holsley Square was a market that lasted 2 years, because all the traders were fed up with the shite in the middle of the and it literally was. If you come into our office in the market in Holsley, you can see a huge picture of all the old boys with bowlers on, and that's where it operated. They built us a market down by the railway station in 1906. That cost £700. Wow. And that market lasted until 2013, when I and my partner Mark Brommel, we instrumented a new market out on the new site that you came to the other day, and that cost 7 million. Wow. That's not our market, that's owned by Torridge District Council. We are tenants, so we have to ask Torridge permission for pretty well everything that we do different to auctioneering. So, you know, if we wanted a car boot sale, it would be no, and we know that, but we'd have to go to Torridge to say, can we do it? So we run that once a year rare breed sale, and possibly after today's meeting, it might be sensible to try and incorporate an inaugural sale for you guys and girls, because the Devon Association of Smallholders would have quite a good ring in amongst that rare breed sale. I think we were running April and September. My son's sort of taken it over because it's always a Saturday. I did 32 Saturdays last year. I got fed up with it, so I gave it to him and I said, "Now you run it." Hopefully he ran it quite well. I haven't had too many bad reports, but any input, he's only 25, 26, so he's quite young at it. But Mark was there, I feel. I didn't make it, but if Mark was there, he would have an overall view and he'd make sure it was right. So what can I tell you? I went to university at Cirencester for 3 years, qualified as a chartered surveyor. After a year in Herefordshire, I worked in Ross and Wye, covered Wales and the Midlands, and then came home because my dad was 65, he retired, got me into the business. Kindly all the directors said, "Yeah, come on in." I had to cut my teeth right at the bottom. I was washing the pens, I was running with sheets since I was about 10. So I'd sort of come up through the ranks in the holidays. Then I qualified as a chartered surveyor, which basically means I can value, I can do court work, I can do probate work, and all the valuation work, and sell farms, sell land, all that bit that I've done for 40 years. In June, I sort of took a bit of a step back because my 2 boys are in the business. And now I work on a Wednesday or Thursday, some Fridays, and mainly Saturdays. So I'm doing 4 days a week. But the Monday and Tuesday is a lot easier than it was because I'm tending not to have to go to the office, which is good. I go if I'm needed, but I'm on a fairly easier life than I've had for 40 years as a director of Kivell. So I'm a consultant. So you'll still see me selling on a Wednesday and a Thursday, and a Saturday we run a monthly machinery sale, and we also do farm sales throughout Devon and Cornwall, which tend to be a Saturday, which is a bit of a bind, but we do them. But when you do 32 in a year, which was last year, it does tend to get a little bit heavy. So hence I thought it was time to just ease back, let the boys take a bit of pressure. And to be fair to them, they both have. They've taken the strain up fairly well. So when I came back, we sort of went through BSE, which was a bit of a nightmare, crippled our business, and we sort of rebuilt. Then 2001 hit us hard, and we did a huge amount of valuations. Some of you here will remember it, some may not, but our market was shut for a year, and it made a very different market for us when we returned and we were able to trade again. It was a very different picture, and things are a lot better now. But you know, we got blue tongue in the country, and that's crippling the east, right up through to Yorkshire and from Hampshire. There's the odd case in Wales. We've had one in Devon. You know, it's just, there's always pressure. TB is a massive pressure on our markets as well. We can't sell cattle, as you know, if they're under restriction. They can only go to, you know, restricted farms or an abattoir. So that really cuts the market out. Now, the market isn't everybody's cup of tea. So we do have an option where we sell quite a bit of livestock privately. Not everybody wants to come into Holsey Market, Holworthy Market or Exeter, which are the 3 we run, for lots of reasons. I totally get that. We are open-minded. We are not saying bring everything to the market. If you want quietness and you don't want banging gates and everything else, which I totally get, we can come to the farm and sell. So we do farm to farm. It's limited because, you know, it's been born into me and bred into me that competition is crucial, and if you're selling farm to farm, you've only got one buyer. So I won't harp on about that, but you're welcome to ask questions. Now, Phil was asking me to just discuss likes of commission rates, how you go about selling, how you go about buying if you do come to market. So I tend to be out on the unloading base for the cattle every Wednesday. So if you're bringing cattle, you tend to see me. We've got somebody else on the bays on the sheep section. You know, we try what we've always gone under the mantra is saying you can come to market in your slippers in our market in Holston. You literally don't need to get out. You can back your vehicle back and we'll unload it and we'll take your paperwork. And it's a fairly stressless process. You probably think it's very stressful. But we're doing it all the time. We know what we're doing. When they're unloaded, we tend to pen them. When they're ready, we tend to pick them into bunches that I feel will sell the best. And I've spent 35 years picking cattle into the right bunch, so when they come into the cattle ring that I'm selling from, I'm not saying, oh, that one shouldn't be in here. You know, so it's my fault. If he's in there, it's my fault in that bunch. So now my son's picking them a bit more than me, and he and I, we work together, and you know, he knows what I want to sell, and he knows what I don't want to sell. So, and that works fairly well. And we tried to maximise the best way. Somebody will say, well, why do you have a bunch of 5 when we only want to buy 1? But if I sold 250 cattle today in ones, I'd still be there tonight. So we tend to try and get a bunch of 5 or 6 or 7, and you'd probably think, why? Because they're not all matching. But I find the bigger the bunch we're selling, the farmer wants to buy a bunch that he can put in that shed and they stay as a bunch. They're all from the same farm, and that tends to work. And an 8 sounds really weird, but sometimes an 8 will sell better than the 2. So you might get another £50 a head. We always sell per head. So whatever you're buying, whether it's a sheep, a chicken, a pig, a dairy cow, a calf, we're selling per head. We would never sell 5 cattle for £2,500 instead of 500. So if you come into the cattle ring and you're hearing 500, it's per head. Okay, so that's cleared that one up. We do get asked, you know, is this for the whole pen? And you're like on £80 a ewe, and there's 10 ewes, and we say, no, they're not £8 each, they're £80 each, so it's going to cost you £800. But it's a legitimate question. If you haven't been to a market before, we just presume everybody's been to market, so that's probably a bit complacent, really. Paperwork is crucial now. There was a day when, you know, I could chuck a load of bullocks in the pen, put a lot number on them, they wouldn't go through a race, and you'd sell them. And that was the end of it. You wouldn't take ear tags, passports, blah, blah, blah. But because of the various disease restrictions we're under, we have to have a passport, we have to have 2 ear tags, and that's crucial. We have to have really an entry form which sets out, you know, all your declarations that you've tested them for TB, that you're under, you've got farm assurance on your farm, blah, 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 blah. And then we've got a declaration that's signed, so we can come back to you if there's a mistake. But we do tend to have a lot of people come in, they're bringing cattle off grass keep, and they haven't got a crush, so there's a tag missing. They bring the tag, we tag it in the market. It's a service we offer. We keep being told you should be charging. I don't feel that. I think you're paying enough commission. Our commission rates for cattle are 3.5%, dairy cattle are 5%, our sheep are about 3.5%, depending what sort of sheep. You'll probably know we sell fat sheep on the same day as we sell store sheep, and then we sell breeding sheep on the same day. So there's 3 types of sheep. We've done it with the cattle today. We sell fat cattle, breeding cattle, store cattle, dairy, just the same, youngsters, milk cows, in-calf cows, bulling heifers. Calves, you know, they vary. We've got spring calving herds with Arla suppliers that they can't do anything with their calves other than keep them for 42 days and they come to market. And there's quite a bit of restriction on what happens to those calves when they're born. So you're seeing tiny little calves come into the market for a reason. They haven't got much demand for them because they are tiny. But spring calving herds, they're all outside. Autumn calving herds, they're calving outside, and the calves got to go. And it's becoming a bit of a cruel world. We've actually sold out 450 dairy herds in the first 6 months of this year. Not us, but that's national, which really is not, you know, it's no good to us. Our bread and butter is you guys, not the big farms. We're, you know, these dairy herds going to 1,000 cows now. And okay, we see some of their calves, we see some of their cattle, but to be honest, the man that's looked after us is the family farm with 100, 150 cows, and they've nearly all gone, unfortunately. It's very sad. So we're in a transformation period, and hopefully in 10 years' time it'll do full circle, but who knows. I'm digressing a little bit. Phil, you wanted to know about premiums, buyer's premium, which I never liked, but another firm of auctioneers brought it in, and we were always told, well, if you don't do it, they're going to carry on doing it. So we copied them about 20 years ago. It's mainly going to hurt you on machinery. We charge a buyer's premium on machinery. That varies from 5 to 10%, which sounds like a lot. And I think when you came to the rare breed sale, you had to pay a buyer's premium at 10%. You probably think, why? Well, there's straw, there's pennage, there's Saturday staff. There are a lot of staff there, I believe. We've got people in the office, etc., etc. A little bit of cleaning out on the Sunday and the Monday, that sort of thing. So hence we have to charge a buyer's premium. We don't normally. On a Wednesday, if you come to market, or in Holsworthy or Holworthy or Exeter, you won't be paying a buyer's premium. So unless it's a dairy herd in their pedigree or a beef herd in their pedigree, you'll pay the guinea. So we tend to sell pedigree stock in guineas, and that's £1 and 5p. So our commission, you're paying our commission, basically. So we still charge the vendor, but you're paying it, if you see what I mean. We sort of act. We are an agent. We're not the owner. At no point do we own any stock. We only act as agent. So we're sat in the middle financially. Yes, we handle the financial transaction. So if you sell, we take the money on the day of sale, but we pay you out as soon as we can process the check. So like today's checks will be ready by Friday. So if you sold 50 grand's worth of stock today, you can come and pick the check up on Friday. You'd probably say, well, why are you talking about checks? Backs payments to us, nearly a no-no. And you'll think, why? Everyone else is doing backs payments. If we paid everybody out by backs on Friday, we would last probably 3 weeks. And you'd probably say, how? But we have to offer credit terms. And that's to do with abattoirs and everybody that's buying stock off us, they want credit terms. So we do offer credit terms. So if you're buying, we can give you credit terms, but we can't do backs payment for the whole market, because today we've probably turned over 500,000. If all that went out on Friday, we don't get paid till 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. There's a cash flow issue, big cash flow issue. So that's covered buyer's premium. You won't pay buyer's premium unless you come to a machinery sale, basically, or a red breed sale, which is once a year. Your commission rates with sales would vary from excuse me, about 3 to 5%. We would never go over 5 that I know. We offer a lairage facility, so if cattle come in overnight, we charge, I think we charge £2 for beef cattle, £6 for dairy cattle, because dairy cattle get special treatment. What else can I tell you about the day-to-day running of the market? I think it's time for you to ask me a question, because I can waffle on forever. Farm sales, we do farm sales on farm still. I did one last year, and we can sell the cattle, the machinery, the sheep, whatever's involved, we can come to the farm and sell it. If somebody decides to retire or disperse it, they want it on the farm, they don't want to bring it all into market, we can do it on the farm. I'm trying to think quickly on my feet of a question that will suit you. How many people have been to market, let's say? Pretty well everybody, that's good. That's really good. So you've had that little bit of experience, but it's not a weekly experience, whereas today there'll be people in there who will not miss a week. It is their life. And I've been instrumental in running a meeting today for the health group, and we've had 6 or 8 fairly major health, shall I say, people who we're promoting a health hub in Holsworthy Market, and it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, but it basically means 2 or 3 nurses sat at the end of the canteen doing health checks for farmers, and it's worked. They've come in, they've done the blood pressure, we've had all sorts of health checks, and that's working quite well. We're trying to keep that going. Obviously it's going to be funded. We're not funding it, but the National Health are funding it, but we've got to go about it the right way to get the funding. And the rural chaplaincy team, who are also in market every week, there trying to promote it, and whether we keep running it in the canteen, I don't know where it'll be run, but we're going to certainly provide facilities and provide an option where farmers don't really want to be on the end of a phone at 8 o'clock in the morning and number 19 in the queue for their pharmacy or their doctor. So if they come to market, there's a nurse there waiting to see them, and she's very presentable. They will walk down there and they will hold their arm out, and that she can stick a needle and she do almost whatever she wants. It just seems to work in a better environment than sat in a doctor's surgery. So I knew that 5 or 6 years ago, and I just felt it was time to promote that service. It's taken till now to get it running, but because of funding, obviously. But it does seem to be working, and hopefully we can keep it going. So, it's not just a market. We've got 24 offices let for accountants, hairdressers, banks, feed firms, NFU, Cornish Mutual. I can name them all: Pembo Vets, Torch Vets, Harper's, Moll Valley, Bridgman's. They all come there. They're only there for a couple of hours, but it does provide a little bit more than just selling livestock. So, yeah, for those of you who come on a Saturday, they won't be there, but on a Wednesday, they're there every week. So please feel free to come along and see us on a Wednesday morning. I mean, even if it's just an hour at 10 o'clock, you'll see quite a bit of activity. I feel like I've spoken too long. I would like really to take just any questions that you feel are relevant or even not relevant, but because I think I can expand. You're first.
Jersey cow. I didn't know you had a rare breed sale, but I have had Jersey cows. I didn't know whether to take them to market. I didn't know how to deal with that. Is that like, would they sell in your market?
Yeah, Jersey cows. We've got one of the country's leading Jersey auctioneers in Exeter, and he's got 250. So he knows jerseys more than anybody else I know. Where he would want to sell it, or them, he's in Hollesley every time they have a dairy dispersal. So if you wanted to bring it to Hollesley, it's fine. If you wanted to take it to Exeter, he's based in Exeter. So yeah.
So they just get in contact with you?
Just get in contact with me, or Mark Davis is his name. He lives at Tiverton. He's got a lovely herd of Jersey cows. He lives for it. He wins all the shows. He won Royal Cornwall this year. And yeah, he's very high in the Jersey world. So, and we do sell a lot of them. He goes, where does he go? He goes, Jersey. There's an annual sale in Jersey. Where else? He goes everywhere. He's judging in Scotland. He's judging all over Britain. So he knows all about jerseys. And he'd love to sell a Jersey cow for you.
What about ages of dairy cows? Surely they sell better at like 2, 3.
Well, at the moment, the trade for the dairy cow is the milk, anything in milk, because everybody wants milk now.
After first calf, then.
Yeah, and that's the time to sell. Really, that's peak. But even after second or third calf, he'll sell them. He'll please you anyway. He'll do a good job. Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, great.
Good.
Thank you.
How soon in advance do you have to book your animals in?
Well, we do a catalogue for the dairy cattle every week, so I think that's a week, and they would want all the records, which we can get off NMR, but if you've got dams and pedigrees, that'll go in the catalogue, and anything you can tell us about the cow. If it's store cattle, we tend to catalogue Monday for Wednesday sale. So we produce a catalogue every week in Hollesley. We don't in Hollesley, we don't in Exeter, but we do in Hollesley every week, just to show everybody, all the buyers get them, just to show them everyone every week what's coming.
So what about if it was the rare breed sale or a
the rare breed sale, I think they get a catalogue out probably a week before the sale. Because if you go before too far, people tend to forget it once it's come through the post or online, and we email a lot of it, so it tends to be done the week before. So any information you've got, if you send it in a month before, it'll still go out in that catalogue the week before. So there's no great, well, there is a deadline obviously, but there's no, you can send it in now for next September, it'll get in there. They'll just put it in a file waiting to do the catalogue. There must be more.
I was just going to say, I've sold a ram through the rare breed sale, and I got a reasonable price.
Good.
I was happy with the price. I was very happy with your staff. Very,
It's getting better.
yeah,
Try over here more often.
I was very pleased with the way the auctioneer dealt with it.
Oh, good.
So
That's a
that's
relief.
the first thing, first comment.
Dogs are nice.
I did put a bunch of 6 hogs into a general sale. I didn't want to have a smaller bunch than 6
No?
because in my
Yeah.
mind a buyer wants to buy a pen of 6 to 10.
Yeah.
So kind of that,
Store hogs. Not fat hogs. Breeding hogs.
Yeah.
Ewe lambs.
Ewe lambs,
Yeah.
sort of rising 12 months.
Yeah.
And I have taken advantage of your health check, so I
Good.
had no blood pressure done and
Good.
flu vaccination once a week. So
Good.
I've taken advantage of several of the opportunities there and had breakfast there as well, which was
Oh,
very
I
nice.
forgot the breakfast.
Needed a check after that, haven't you?
Yeah. It doesn't really run together, does it?
I brought up on the farm, we used to have to go to Exeter Market every week on a Friday, and that was part of the deal, so I'll take you for breakfast afterwards.
Yeah.
The main question was in relation to pens and sheep in your general sale. Am I right or wrong thinking that a pen of 6 would be the sort of like the minimum size that would be appropriate?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
no. If you've got one in a pen, that should not detract from your importance, shall I say?
Mm.
So, just
I
because
think
you know.
of the interest from the buyer's side, you know, if
Yeah, I know, but
buying
not
a-
everybody's
if
got 6,
if
have
they've got
they?
the list, they've got to buy 50 ewes,
Yeah.
then they don't want to be messing
No,
about
I
with
get
ones and
that. I
twos.
get that. No, ideally, yes, 6 or even 10. But if you've got one, don't feel embarrassed about bringing one. And lots of people do.
And your drovers were very helpful as well when I put the 6 in.
Well, I hope they were. It's good. Your 6 are feeding them, aren't they?
Well, I
When
understand
you've got
that,
6 or 600.
but as an infrequent sale,
Yeah, yeah,
so I'm not there every week,
yeah.
like my father was.
Right.
And I was very pleased with the way that the staff dealt with me as not a total novice, but as an infrequent visitor.
Good, good. I'm not
Thank
used
you.
to compliments. Could you put me up again, Karen? I speak to you every week. Phil.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about splitting lots? So sometimes when I go
Yes,
and
yeah,
go to South Molton,
yeah.
I'll have my lunch. I sometimes work there and I have my lunch in the market. So you'll see maybe 25 sheep come through,
Yeah,
and then it all happens very fast and I don't understand what's going on, and then they kind of get split and a load get taken off and either something happens or another buyer takes them,
yes.
and it just strikes me that if we come to your place and we see maybe 8 weaners come through and I only want 3 or 4 of them,
Yeah.
there's the scope for doing something similar, but I don't quite understand what's going on
No.
and how you make it clear.
Well, sometimes we expect you to stop the auction and say, I only want 3 weaners. Can you sell 3?
Okay.
And we will,
Right.
on the whole. I'm not sure about my son,
Right.
but his predecessor, James Morris, would have stopped the auction. We're going to can of spray, mark the 3 you wanted, and sell them.
Right.
Or even sell and you take the pick. That's what he tended to say.
Sure.
So he would sell the 8,
Yeah.
but with your pick. So you would have first option to take the 3 you wanted.
Right.
And because you were the last bidder,
Yeah.
you had that option.
Right.
But if you were the second last bidder, we're not going to say, oh, well, you know, you take the 3 you wanted, but the actual buyer is going to end up with those 5. Because you're the last bidder
Yeah.
and your bid wins,
Yeah.
you get priority over that pen. So if
Right.
you want 6 out of the 8, you get 6.
And so say I bid 80 and I take 3 at 80.
Yeah.
What then happens to the rest?
They go up again and they
Okay.
make 60. And it's not a problem because you've taken the best.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And the vendor's happy
Sure.
because they've got an average of 70.
Got you.
So it's the same as selling 8 at 70. You've got 3 good ones at 80 and the rest at 60.
Fine.
Similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we do rely on you to stop the auction. and nobody wants to do that because you know, it's all a bit scary.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, but we do rely on you to do it because, especially with the sheep and the pigs, it's a bit different than the cattle. I had a man turn up the other day, and he was trying to stop me on every you know, pen that came in the ring, and in the end, he got a bit annoying. You know, if we stopped and picked out one and left 4 on every lot, we'd be there forever. So, and we tend to got them into groups. We're out there from upper 6 onwards, picking them into groups we think are right for the buyers we know are going to buy them. And nobody ever really comes to us and said, oh, we want that one out, we want that one out. Very often, if the specification in the ring is different to how we've picked them, one buyer will say, and if he's buying off me 20, 30 a week every week, you'll respect him and say, yeah, of course we can. And that happens every week. He'll say, I don't want that one, I want that one. And we've got a pair in the ring, and I'll sell him that one. Because if I don't, he won't be there next week. So people tend to have to stop us, rather than I stop every lot and say, right, anybody want to split them? Because we'd be there forever. No, I want that one, I don't want that one, I want that one. So, you know, if you're buying in the future, you stop the auctioneer, and if he doesn't like it, come and find me. And if it's my son, definitely come and find me. So, yeah, we're happy to do it.
Will you be having poultry sales again?
Well, funny you should mention that. It's quite an appropriate question, because I was going to tell you about another appropriate question, which would have been that today I've actually qualified for an agriculturally tied property that is a small holding. So I'm trying to buy it, and I'm in the middle of buying it, so I might have to join your association. It's quite appropriate that I'm here tonight, because it came through today that I qualified because I'm in agriculture. That's fine, that's courage. But poultry sales, 2 years ago in the middle of bird flu, we literally had to stop because we were told by DEFRA or APHA that if we find bird flu on the premises, and we were holding regular poultry sales, as you know, but if we find bird flu on the premises, we'll shut your market for a month. And that's not just poultry, that's every single animal. Well, we can't afford that for the sake of 500 chicken. So, funnily enough, today, we've still got the cages, and I've been quite keen to get it up and running again. So I've approached APHA last week and said, we're building a new shed opposite the market. You might have seen the foundations. Well, if you haven't been there for a week, they were only done last week. Building a new shed, and we're putting trailers and straw in the shed. And I've approached my fellow directors to say, if I could pull all the trailers out, put all the cages in, and we did an evening in probably start March, go April, May and June, and start up again September, October, I would willingly try and get it off the ground, even if I ended up trying to sell and do, you know, I expect my son and some of the, we've got some young guys working in the market who quite like to start auctioneering, and they always used to start on the poultry. So that's been given the go ahead. So as long as we get APHA giving us the green light to allow us to run the sale in that shed in Holsworthy, we'll do it. It won't happen in Exeter. It might happen in Holsworthy if Holsworthy's successful, because he'll be jealous down there and say, well, if they're doing poultry sales, I'm going to do poultry sales, you know. But we'll try to do one big one in Holsworthy, to be honest, of an evening. And it'll probably be 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, maybe, because the same staff will still be there, booking it in, etc., rather than bring them all in. It's, dare I say, you know, it's quite a laborious process selling poultry, and it needs market office staff, but we enjoy it, and we know there's knock-on effects. You know, people have got a farm, people have got some land, people have got a few cattle, and it's contact for us. So I feel it's quite important. We've lost it. I've lost clients because we haven't sold poultry, and I know where they are, and they will come back, but it's just getting that sort of green light to allow us to keep it completely separate from the market, because we can't risk Holsworthy market being shut because a Wyandottes got blooming bird flu and they found it in Holsworthy. And that's what they'll do, the blanket shut. So, yeah, to answer your question, I'm hoping March 25, sounds a long time away, but it'll soon go, especially when you're dealing with APHA. You've got to get a license, you've got to jump through the hoops, and you've got to show your disinfection process. But we're happy to do it, we're used to it, and we've been able to do it in the past, and it was going well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm sort of relating to poultry, because we were waiting to buy a whole load of chickens. It was the very last lot of the auction, and there was about 10 cages, weren't there? And so the first cage went for like £10 or £5 a bird or whatever, and then they were suddenly given the option for the rest.
Yes.
And he went, yeah, and then all of a sudden he bought everything,
I can
and
explain
then
that.
nothing else was. And we were
Okay,
like, we'd
so
waited all this time,
that's
and
similar
everything
to
got
Phil's
sold.
question
Yeah,
of being
splitting the pens.
splitting the pen.
Yeah,
If you ever hear the auctioneer give out that you've got the option, that could have been you having that option. So if there's 10 pens of sheep, 10 pens of chicken, you've got the option to go and buy the whole run of 10 pens of sheep. So your 6, if you had 60 and they're penned in 6s, 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 and somebody wanted 60, they bought the first 6, they got the chance to buy the whole lot. And there's everyone lined up waiting to buy the next 5 pens.
Yeah.
No way, because you are the last bidder. And if you're given the option, you've got the honour to take the rest. And that's what that person did. So
would they,
to stop that, Karen, you had to be the last bidder. It's a bit like Phil with his 3 pigs. He has to be the last bidder. He can't expect to have the pick when he's the underbidder.
no.
So his 80 is crucial.
But
His
they don't-
70 is no good at all.
They don't say at the beginning, or do they, with the option?
Yes,
Oh, do
yes,
they?
it has
Oh,
to
right.
be given out. If you don't give it
Before
out
you start
and they
bidding.
take it, you stop the sale and say, you never gave out there was an option.
All right, or maybe we probably were a bit naive and didn't know that.
But it was noisy and it's my son again,
Yeah.
probably cracking on, he wanted to get home, probably 10 o'clock at night, fed up with it.
What words does he actually use when he?
You've got the
broadcasts
option,
that?
you've got the option.
Just before you start bidding, or
Yeah.
you start.
Yeah, he'll get to that pen of poultry, option on the next 5 pens.
Right.
That's what it means. It's same with the sheep, the 60 sheep. Sell the 6, you've got the option on the next 5 pens, and taking it to 60. If you want all 60, it's you, because you're the final bidder. So don't get caught next time.
And that's on the
You be
instruction
the
of the
final
owner.
bidder.
That'll be the final bidder.
Would that be the same price for all the pens?
Yeah.
You'll hear us do it in the machinery sale. We'll have, I don't know, what did I do on Saturday? 5 big dumpy bags of logs, and the first bag made 80 quid, and I said, you've got the option on the next 4, and he took the lot. And there's everybody waiting to buy the next 4, game over. And everyone's looking at me and saying, oh, is that fair? Yes, it is, because he is the final bidder. And it's a bit harsh for you guys to understand, but for the vendor, it's perfect. So, yeah. I can understand your frustration.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll try and find you
We know
some
that.
chickens in March. Can you hang on?
And those would be pens from different people who
No,
put forward, or
no,
one
they're
farm?
all the same vendor.
Right.
What we can't do is mix it up,
Yeah.
because the other vendor would not appreciate
Yeah.
them not having the chance. That, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be the same person, and it has to be the same item. You can't have various, you couldn't sell 6 brown hens and then have some beautiful wind-up pullets in the middle of the run. You wouldn't give the option. You see what I mean? It has to be exactly the same.
In terms of buying at an auction, it strikes me like you're taking a bit of a chance, because you don't know the vendor, you don't know the stock. Do you guys check anything? Know they're okay? Is there any kind of guarantee?
Well,
Or
yes.
not a guarantee,
There
but
are certain guarantees. So if you buy, say, stall cattle, they're not going to be in calf. So that's a guarantee. And if they're found to be in calf, you come back and say, this one's in calf. Go back to the owner. We go back to the owner and we compensate you monetarily. Because the owner has to give us, because he sold it wrong. So we sell under huge set of conditions of sale. They're displayed in the market, but it's, you know, it's a huge poster for anything that goes wrong. So you're selling an in-calver that proves empty, or a cow to breed that proves barren, or a steer that's a bull, or a steer that's a rig and hasn't been cut properly, he's got a stone up in his belly and he's there riding on your heifers. You can come back to us and say, I bought a steer, it's a rig, or it's a bull. So yeah, there are, but as to health, you're on your own, I'm afraid. There's no guarantee. As soon as he goes up on your lorry or trailer and the ramp goes up, it's down to you. You could drive out our market and get home and he's there dead on the floor. Sorry. Which is sounding a bit tough, but if we were paying out for that sort of thing, we'd be gone tomorrow, you know?
Do you have a vet in the market looking at?
We have trading standards every week, and if there is a problem, they'll call the vet. But to be honest, we're if there's anything we can see that's wrong when we unload, it's gone. We don't let it get to trading standards or the vet, and people know that, so they tend to respect that when they're selling. It's almost self-policing. But yeah, a vet will turn up now and again, but trading standards will be there every week, and they're quite indiscriminate. Conspicuous? Which word is it? Camouflage? You can't really tell who they are. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't, but they're you know, if there's something wrong, what is it? Ringworm. They're quite hot on ringworm. They're hot on double tags. So if there's a double tag missing, they're right on it, and the bullock either goes home or we get a tag ordered. They'll stomach that, because you know, if the bullock comes off a grass keep and there's no crush, how are you going to get your second tag in? So we'll put the tag in because we're going to crush in a race. And the same with the sheep. You know, if sheep come in untagged, we're allowed to tag them in the market as long as the tags come. If the tags don't come, the sheep go home.
Talking tags with sheep, slaughter tags versus double tags.
Please don't ask me about tagging sheep. Something I've avoided all my career. I don't intend to get into it now. What would you like to know?
Well, if an animal is sold with a slaughter tag in it, is it the buyer is expecting to take it off to slaughter, or do you get buyers that will buy those and then potentially take them for breeding?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm totally ignorant on sheep tagging, and that's how I intend to stay. Please speak to my sheep auctioneer on that one. I have to have a limit. That's my limit.
If you're selling finished stock, presumably the buyer, the abattoir or butcher, is going to be interested in the carcass weight, but the animals are sold on the price per head. So how does that work? Do they know when they're bidding on it what the weight is, or are they looking at it and assessing the weight by...
All our finished stock today was weighed.
Sorry, say again?
All the finished stock we've sold today has been weighed.
Right, so that's declared when...
We declare it on the screen.
Ah, right, okay.
And we declare it in the pen for the sheep.
Right.
We give out the weight.
Right.
So Steve, the auctioneer, will be saying they're 42s or 21s,
yeah,
half weights, and they'll bid on that weight.
Right.
And I've sold fat cattle today, and they were 730 kilos,
yeah,
230 pence a kilo,
yeah,
and that's how they were bought.
right.
So if it's finished, and it's prime, and it's fat, it's weighed. Everything else is store and sold per head. So
the price for those is per kilo, is it, or is it per head?
the price for the store cattle,
No, the price of the finished ones.
the finished ones is per kilo.
Ah, okay.
So the sheep are sold half weights. So if your lambs are 42 kilos, we sell them at 21s.
Right.
We work out on a 50%, they're 21s.
Yeah.
So that's so much, but that's, stupidly, they're sold per head. So they're £140, but when we come to report it, they're worked out on the price per kilo. Okay? We don't sell price per kilo for sheep. Sorry. I'll go back a bit. For cattle, we sell price per kilo.
Right.
For sheep, we give out the weight, but then we sell the whole price.
Right.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it looks like we're selling store sheep that are actually fat sheep, but they are sectionalised in each market.
Right.
So all the fat sheep are there, all the store sheep are over there.
So when you're bidding for a finished cattle, then you're bidding at a price per kilo.
That's right.
Right, rather than
Than the whole.
right.
So I think some made £1,700–1,800 today, but they were 250 pence a kilo, so there were 750 kilos.
Right. So the bidding will go 200 pence a kilo, 210,
That's it.
220.
That's right. Yeah.
But if that was a sheep,
Yeah. Yeah. It's per head.
per head.
I know, it's really weird.
Yeah. So does that mean that people sit there with their calculators trying to work out the price of the sheep?
The sheep buyers know exactly what they're paying price per kilo,
Right.
but it's price per head,
Yeah.
sorry. Confusing, I know. I don't know why we do it that way, but it's the way we've always done it, like a lot of things.
So shortly I'm going to bring 5 store in for you to sell for me.
Jolly good. I'm away next week, so I'll do it next
GB
week.
test yet. So earliest I can do GB test is end of October. I want them away by Christmas. The difficulty then, when should I sell? Is it earlier better or is
Well,
later?
it'll purely depend on your circumstances. Are they outside?
They are now.
You don't want them slipping. You feeding them?
Okay.
I would get them gone as soon as you've tested this time of year.
Okay.
Because it's colder nights, we've got a little bit of frost coming, they'll start to slip unless you're caking them.
Okay.
So as soon as they're tested, the trade's good. You're not like you're waiting for the trade to improve. The trade's very good at the moment. And I can see the beef trade lasting right to next June. There's a massive shortage, and yeah, we're on $5.10 a kilo, I think, dead weight is the beef price at the moment. I've done 250, 260 today live weight. So that'll continue right to probably next summer, because the numbers just aren't around. Normally, come the autumn, it dips. For years I've known it just drop like that because of the weather and all the cattle come off grass. It's totally changed now. Everyone's putting cattle indoors all through the summer, so there's a regular supply. So as soon as you get them tested, I get them in.
Great, thank you.
The trade will be the same whether you bring them in October as you bring them in end of November. Sheds start getting, people, we had a lull in September because a lot of cattle were going into sheds because the ground was so wet. It was actually a long winter, and they've got to be fed. Whereas they go out to grass, they're fine. If we'd had a sensible September, our trade would not have dropped. It dropped £50 a head through September because they're having to go into a shed. September till April is a long winter, and that's what affects it. Whereas when you test those sheds, they'll be starting to get them strawed and get them ready and get that transition from grass to shed, and that's when they come to buy the cattle.
Great.
And there'll be some men there today, and they haven't been to market for, since last October, November. They've only come today because their shed's empty. They've got barley, they've got straw, plenty of grub, lots of silage, and they've got to start filling that shed up now. They've got, by the end of November, our numbers just disappear. So they've got like 6 weeks now, and they'll come every week, and they'll buy 10, 15, but by the end of November, they've got their 150 they need for the shed. So, yeah. Somebody else, you have one.
I've got a sort of social question really, and I get the importance of the
Bit of relief.
market and for its mental health and people chatting.
Crucial.
Do you feel that there's a, with online buying, sell my livestock, such sites, do you feel under threat at all?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean,
And
to be
where
honest.
do you think it's going to go?
Well, it's a good question because sell my livestock it works, and I've got nothing against it. I've got friends in it, and they're all over the country advising and selling, and it works. So I think it's horses for courses, and we could have done it. And I think a bigger threat than sell my livestock is likes of Facebook. We use Facebook all the time now, as you can probably see in our posts, but it also works against us because you could go and film 50 cattle on a farm, put them on Facebook and ask 800 quid for them, and you'll have people coming in and say, I'll have them. You could start up as an auctioneer. There's nothing stopping you. And there's 2 or 3 men running around Devon and Cornwall at the moment buying you know, they're selling lots of cattle and sheep because they can video them, put them on Facebook, and Facebook sells them for them. So that's probably a bigger threat than some of my livestock or some of the cooperatives that operate farm to farm. But it's necessary. It's like I said when I started the talk, not everyone wants to come to market. We don't expect everyone to do it. My son sells a lot of TB calves and stirks that haven't been able to get off restriction for 10 years, so they can't come to market. They'll ring him up and say, look, I've got 80, I want them all as one batch, and he'll find somebody who can take them with a TB restricted unit, and they'll take the 80. So he does a lot of that, a lot of private treaty. But he's also in a ring, he sold 420 today out of the calf ring.
Yeah.
So he's adaptable enough and not stupid enough to say, oh no, I can't do it on farm, they've got to come to market. We've had to adapt. But the threat to us is more Facebook than a website called Sell My Livestock or something similar. But you know, we've been under that threat for, well, some time now, and we've managed to battle it off because, like I said when I started, if you take one man to that farm to buy 80 cattle, he's the man. There's no other 10 people bidding against him. He is the man. So what he says, you've literally got to take. And it's the same with putting 50 cattle on Facebook to sell privately. Oh yeah, you'll get somebody come and say, oh, I want them, but he said, I don't want that one and I don't want that one. You come to market, I can sell everything. I'll sell everything. There's nothing, oh, I can't sell it, you better take that one home. We'll sell everything. So, and there's 10, 15, 20 people bidding for them. No, I don't know how many had around the ring today. You must have had 200 people there. And okay, you only have 50 or 60 actual buyers, a lot of people watching. But that's always been our mantra, is the competition. And you know, you can be out unloading and they'll say, what's this worth? I said, £800, the damn thing makes 1,000. But he was happy at 800 because he hadn't been to market for 6 weeks. And he would, if somebody come on his farm and said, I'll bid you £800 for those, he would have said, yeah, have them. He's £200 short per bullock. So that's the beauty of the ring, is that somebody takes a liking to them and they go up. You never see it going down. Never.
Yeah.
It always goes that way.
Do you think there's a place then for things like breeder that's got a full history?
Oh, definitely. Yeah,
And
definitely.
Is there a way that you can incorporate that into yours or not?
We can't really, no. I mean, the full history will come with EID. So when we go, and we will go there, we are going to go with cattle. I mean, we're getting there with sheep, but they want cattle to be EID, and BCMS will disappear, and everything will be on a electronic tag. So your history, your FABL, TB history, BVD history, everything will be on that tag. And that will be here within probably 3 years. It's going apace at the moment. And they want to get rid of BCMS, basically. All this paper and passports is rubbish in this day and age. It really is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I'm not around when it's electronic, because I'm quite a pen and paper man still, but I've had to adapt a little bit, but it frightens me to think we've got 500 cattle in the market and we haven't got a piece of paper for any of them, because I've sort of grown up with passports and, you know, that sort of thing, and ear tags, but it's the way it's going, and I can understand that. I'll leave that to the boys to adapt to. Yeah.
You talk about Facebook. As soon as you said that, a big alarm bell's ringing. I was thinking cattle rustling, black market, and I know that deer and sheep are taken, probably going into the food chain illegally.
Yeah.
I mean, at least with market, you check the paperwork. You have to.
We
produce,
do.
You've got ear tags. You've got to produce the paperwork.
Yeah. It's quite a strict process as well.
But how is it that Facebook could get away with?
Well, I don't think it is getting away with it. I don't think there's anything underhand going on with Facebook. At the end, well, at the end of the day, you can't go and rustle 10 bullocks. What are you going to do with them? You haven't got any passports.
Well, exactly,
passports are in the cupboard at home.
Yeah,
the cattle are in the field. Yeah, you've loaded them up in your trailer. You've gone. But you've got ear tags that match passports. All of a sudden, those cattle are going to be found. So the rustling.
I hope so.
The rustling's pretty minimal in this area. There's a fair bit going on in the north and around certain cities where they can come out, kill a lamb. I get that, but to rustle 10 cattle nowadays is not easy when the passports are set in the cupboard. You've got to be able to get the passport and the bullock, haven't you? And that's not going to happen through Facebook. No, I'm not bemoaning Facebook because of rustling and anything. Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a step ahead of our business where the man who's selling through Facebook, he'll pay a very small charge and a very low commission because there's no expense. All it takes is a phone and a film, and it's loaded up. Costs nothing to load it. A message back, yes, I'll have them. A visit to the farm, gone. Loaded, gone. So that's our competition, and that's what, you know, we have to have competition, but I prefer it to be weak, not strong. Otherwise you become complacent there. You think, oh, I've got nothing to get out of bed for. I've whittled on too long, by a long way, sorry.
Well, I think we'd like to say thank you very much indeed if there are no more questions.
Thank you very much. As much as it's lovely,
Okay.
I'll put it to auction.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much.
You won't feel offended.
I won't feel
You can
offended.
always buy it, Phil.
Well, we are very, very grateful
Yeah,
to have you
thank
here.
you very much.
And I'm sure many of us will be seeing you again.
Well, I hope so,
Future.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we know where we are.
So thank you very much.
I
indeed.
might have to join your association if it all goes well.
We can talk about that
I don't know what I'm going to be doing yet, but I've got a
Okay.
small holding.
So it's a place on the committee.
Oh, I know, I don't want to join it. I just want to be a member. I know what to do. Right, we're going to try this one then. This is going to be worth, it's going to be worth £100, isn't it, Phil? Oh no, Sainsbury's best, no. Somebody bid me a £5 for this one. I can't take it home, it's wrong. You don't give me £5, I will take it home. £5. £6? Oh, £6. £7, madam? £7. £8 for you. 8. It's all going to good funds. £8. Go to the association at £8. 9? 9 at the back. £9. 10. £10. That's what it's worth. 11?
Yeah.
11. £11 on bid. £11. One more? 12. £12 on bid. 13. Now we're going to auction 14. 15. 15. You can have the auction on the other 10. 15. Run on the back. 15. Sure? 15. I sell it 15. Yours it is, sir. Thank you very much. You're not going on our debtors list, it's long enough. Pay before you go. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a safe journey home.